What's going on, everybody? Hope you all are having a great night and enjoying this day. Uh, so, I just want to come talk to you for a little while. I've been on a Kevin Smith kick here lately. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. Have been for a pretty long time. So I got Clerks 3 from Walmart not too long ago for $5, and that movie just came out not too long ago. So usually, when movies go that cheap, that fast, that's usually a bad sign. But I know Kevin Smith movies aren't really quote unquote regarded as serious movies, but anyway, the man has pretty much like a cult following as far as like his movies go. Those that love him, and those that hate him. I'm blessed to be surrounded by people that love Kevin Smith movies and pretty much anything he does, like the lovely Kat Arnett, my cousin Cody Dickinson, who will be on the podcast soon. We're going to be talking video games and stuff with him shortly. So hopefully I can get him on. And my amazing co-host, who's been having some issues with scheduling and stuff, Dwayne Archer. We're all big Kevin Smith fans. But I decided to kind of make a list of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. Oh, someone heard Kevin Smith, and there's my dog Bullet, who is a Kevin Smith fan by proxy. He has to be. But honestly, when you got Kevin Smith movies and a hound dog, you really can't go wrong in life. But hi, buddy. We're gonna do a. You want to be on the podcast today? Huh? All right. Bullet says, "Hello, everyone," and he says, "Daddy is now scratching my back," like he should be. But anyway, so I thought I'd sit and jot down, my top 5 Kevin Smith movies and kind of share my thoughts on them and why they're my favorites. And I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear the thoughts of all of you that listen and see what you guys think. Are you fans? Are you not fans? What if you are? What's your favorite Kevin Smith movie? You can hear my dog hacking in the background. Like, what's your favorite? What's your least favorite? Why? What was the movie that got you hooked? So let's go ahead and start this off. I'm gonna go with my favorite being the first, the best in my opinion. Well, not the best, but the one that got me hooked. The first one, Clerks. I love Clerks. I love how amazing Clerks is with how little that he had as far as a budget and equipment to make this movie, and how inept it is. Like, if any, like, I don't know, for some reason I was just hooked. Like, I thought the black and white was genius on his part. I thought it was amazing. It's just, and it introduces so many characters that are still shown to this day in the movies. And I don't know. I was hooked from the first. My second one would be Clerks 3. And in my opinion, Kevin Smith's best movie. I did a review on Clerks 3 and why I feel that way. I think that's his best work. From opening scene to the end. Like, I was I was hooked on Clerks 3, and it had the best performance that I have seen from Jeff Anderson, and Brian O'Halloran brought it in this movie, and it brought a different side of them in a dramatic scheme of things, and it helped. It delved into some real life issues, and you got to see people from the Secret Stash and a lot of people that grew up with Kevin Smith and have been with him on the front of this adventure with his movie career and all that stuff. And then Jersey Girl would be number 3 on my list. I think Jersey Girl is probably his most underrated movie. Ben Affleck does amazing in that movie. I'm a big fan of Jersey Girl. Again, another movie that tugs at the heartstrings, and it shows a great direction that Kevin Smith can go, and a great chops, honestly, on all ends, on the acting of Ben Affleck and the directing of Kevin Smith, and like how it can go from comedic hilarity to drama and the blink of an eye, and just how seamless it is. Again, a great movie from top to bottom. And then Mallrats at 4. I love Mallrats. It's hilarious. Sets up so much in the story, as far in the Askew universe, as far as characters and development, and it's just an all in all hilarious movie. So many great parts in it. Jason Lee's amazing in it. Ethan Suplee's funny as hell. And then if you haven't watched Mallrats, please do. If you haven't watched any of these movies, I highly recommend them. Kevin Smith's just a very great director. And number 5, like, I'm having trouble with my 5th one. Because when you get down to the 5th one, for me, the top 4, definite. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But when you get to the 5th one, I originally had Chasing Amy, which I think I might still stick with. But, again, I'm not 100% sold on, because there's a couple others that I really like Zack and Mary Make a Porno. I literally just watched that probably, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. I got done watching it. Hilarious movie. Great cast. Funny from beginning to end. Jason Mewes is hilarious in that movie. And it's cool to see Jason Mewes in a movie where he doesn't play Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. So that's a great thing. And you see Seth Rogen in it, which is weird because he's not really what you would call, quote unquote, a Kevin Smith guy. So I love that. But it's a hilarious movie nonetheless. And also, like, I know a lot of people say this movie sucks, and it was not received very well by critics at all. Matter of fact, they called it a low point in Kevin Smith's directorial career. But I'm a big fan of Yoga Hosers. I don't know why, because it's on premise. It's such a stupid movie, but it's done that still, like, you're like, this movie's so dumb, but it's still hilarious, and I still want to watch it. And you don't know why. Like, I think had the movie been done any other way by anyone else, would have completely tanked. And honestly, if you talk to some Kevin Smith fans and some movie critics, it did technically fail and tank. But I loved Harley Quinn Smith and Lily Rose Depp in it. I thought they were hilarious. And their on-screen chemistry was awesome. Like, you can definitely tell that they're best friends in real life. And I don't feel like they took the movie too seriously, which was a good thing, which I think made it better. But I think the premise of it is hilarious. Like, I think if you just kind of take the seriousness out of it and stop, like, judging it on that aspect and just have an open mind and look at it, I think it'll definitely open your mind. But I think I'm going to stick with Chasing Amy as my fifth. It's a really good movie. Joey Lauren Adams is great in that movie, and it's just I don't know, I'm a fan. But yeah, like, I think he's extremely underrated as a director. I mean, the man's done some amazing films, and I just hope he gets the credit that he actually deserves. Because if you go look at his video catalog, in my opinion, not just because I'm a big fan and he's one of my idols, but I think he's definitely a voice of a generation that wanted something different. For those of us that think outside of the box, and for those of us that wanted something that you could laugh at but still had meaning, as opposed to like your quote unquote big Hollywood comedy. Like, yeah, you know, Adam Sandler's great and Will Ferrell's great, but there's just something about a Jay and Silent Bob movie, or there's just something great about a Clerks movie. Like, when you see Brian O'Halloran on your screen and you know what you're about to get into, like, I don't know, it's just, it gives a everyday type feel to a movie. And I know he'll never hear this, because God knows I can barely get people to listen on my own. But Kevin Smith, good sir, if you ever do hear this, you are an icon to a lot of us. You are the man. You will forever hold a spot in millennials' hearts, because I know more that love than hate. And you're one of the most genuine people that I have ever seen in Hollywood, and has never lost where you came from. So keep doing what you're doing. And I heard something about Moose Jaws coming out this year. I'm excited to see that. That's the third movie in the Tusk trilogy. So we'll see what happens with that. Heard it's going to be like a Jaws Jaws with a moose. So I'm kind of anxious to see how that goes. But yeah. All right, so we talked a little bit about Kevin Smith movies and why he's an idol of mine. So other than that, I've been really thinking about like interactive content and stuff for everybody. And like, I don't know. I want to get more interactive with people, and I would like to, make this a platform to where we can have great conversations and great topics. And now here's a topic that affects everyone, unless, there's a very few that this doesn't affect. So this will definitely affect the majority of the masses. Television shows. It's something that I've always had my whole life. Like, I've always liked watching TV like everybody else. But I have a vast eclectic taste in TV. So I've been told by some people. I'm not necessarily a fan of I wasn't a fan of a lot of popular things when it was on, but as I've gotten older and not so much a douchebag anymore, because we all know how we are when we're younger. A lot of us kind of arrogant and cocky. I was very angry at the world, very, very angry at the world, till life humbled me. So I was able to realize the error of my ways and start enjoying life. So, anywho, I made a top 5 favorite television show list. I would love comments, feedback. Let me know your shows, what you like, what you don't like, what hits your top 5. Now, my top 5s have been known to change. For the most part, they stay the same. It kind of really depends on where I'm at that time, as far as what I'm into. But number 1 and number 2 and number 3 never change. Alright, so starting off my list, this is number 1, Seinfeld. I am a huge Seinfeld fan. I have been for a long time. I didn't watch it when it was on, because I wasn't really into that type of show growing up. But as I got older and became a teenager, I found Seinfeld to the point where, and this is going to date my age, before I would even, now let me know who's guilty of doing stuff like this. I would program my VCR to record Seinfeld on TBS. That way I could watch it. And that way I had episodes to watch. Has anybody else done that? Or am I one of the few that have? I don't know. I love Seinfeld. It's literally the show about nothing. It's dumb. It's funny. The characters are amazing. Even the side characters are great. It's been my number 1 show for a long time. I have all the seasons on DVD. I'm surprised those DVDs still work. Still to this day, nothing relaxes me like watching some Seinfeld. Watching Jerry and George and Kramer and Elaine. And even the side characters like Banya and the one you never see, Bob Sacamano, and Jerry's parents and George's crazy parents. It's just, I don't know. I love Seinfeld. So number 2, it's not going to be a list of favorite TV shows without a little trip to Scranton, Pennsylvania. You got to love The Office. And despite popular opinion, I still like the seasons without Steve Carell. My wife likes The Office. She'll sit and watch it with me unless I'm watching the seasons without Steve Carell. She just can't do it. She hates them. I don't think they're all that bad. Like, is there something missing? Definitely. Like, you can't have 7 3/4 of a season of a show with Steve Carell and then he leaves and then there not be something drastically missing. So honestly, like, I feel like it's still a good show. Like, it still has the majority of the characters. I love The Office. I've went to sleep on it a million times. I've watched the whole show countless number of times. It's probably other than Seinfeld, my most watched show that I've ever watched. I don't know. I love the love story between Jim and Pam. The the relationship between Jim and Dwight. Dwight's off and on again relationship with Angela. The mysteriousness of Bob Vance, like, what's up with him? Like, what's, like, I don't know. There's something sketchy about Bob Vance, but I love it. Um, and then everyone's favorite grump was Stanley, and Creed's always off doing something weird. Like, it's just a great, great cast, great show. I love it. And then on to my third show, and I have my cousin Cody to thank for this one because I hadn't watched it until he showed me an episode of his house. We're still stuck in Pennsylvania, so let's go from Scranton to Philly, where it's always sunny. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That is one of my all-time favorite shows. I got my wife hooked on it. Mac and Dee and Charlie and Dennis and Frank. So many great episodes. They make fun of so many different topics, and the show's going on for, I think, is now in its 16th season, which is amazing. From start to finish, it's a great show. Again, a show that I've watched countless times through. There's so much wrong with all these characters, but it adds so much depth to the show. I love it. And the fact that they run a bar that they never really sell anything at, and yet the bar still is in existence. It's hilarious. Like, who's paying the bills at this bar? Because obviously they're not making any money. But it's an amazing show. Hilarious. Just so fucking funny. And then we go off to Montana to one of the biggest shows that's on TV right now. A show that I honestly thought that someone like myself would never really like. But I was shocked, and I'm hooked. And I don't know why, but I am. Yellowstone. I love me some Yellowstone with the Duttons and the Yellowstone Ranch and the freaking characters on that show. John Dutton being the badass that he is reminds me a lot of my dad in a way. And then you got Rip. Everybody wants to be Rip. Rip's one of the most badass characters ever. Beth is crazy as shit. Like, she's literally batshit freaking crazy. She's, all sweet and nice one minute and ready to tear your freaking head off. I love me some Beth Dutton though. She's awesome. And then you got freaking the stable of hands that are working there. Just a great show. I love it. And you got the horses and the awesome ranch, the great views, the amazing storylines. Like, it's just a phenomenal show from start to finish. Family drama, outside issues, dealing with casinos and all this other stuff. Like, it's just a phenomenal show with great spin-offs also, by the way. If you like Yellowstone and you have not checked out, is it 1883 and 1928? You need to. Those are great shows. I personally like 1883 a little bit more, but they're both really good. I'm excited to see new seasons of both shows. And I can't wait for the next half of season 5 of Yellowstone. I wish that it wasn't ending. I love it, and it's probably one of my all-time favorite shows. And, well, I mean, obviously it is, but it'll probably stay that way because I can rewatch it. The rewatchability for me is through the roof. And then we come to number 5. At number 5 on my list, we will take a trip out to charming California, where we meet up with the Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy, for the longest time, was my go-to show. Um, I feel like the rewatchability on it is a little hard to get through. It's not as rewatchable as some. And that's what I base my determining factors on a lot is the rewatchability. Because you can't, like, it's good to be a great show for a while. But for me, on a top list, you've got to be able to, like, constantly rewatch and rewatch. And I think I'm to the point with Sons where it's starting to get hard to rewatch. Like, the first 4 seasons, it's pretty easy to rewatch. But then once you start getting past that is when it starts to get a little difficult. It's not as easy as some of these other shows. But again, another show with great cast of characters, great actors that played the characters. Ron Perlman did amazing as Clay. Charlie Hunnam and Jax Teller was a match made in heaven. Ryan Hurst as Opie was great. And then you get to the side characters like Tommy Flanagan as Chibs. Like, that was amazing. The guy that played Unser did phenomenal. Taylor Sheridan, who played Deputy Hale, who went on to create Yellowstone, was phenomenal. And I don't know. Henry Rollins was amazing on the show. I don't think he gets enough credit for his role on Sons as, you know, a part of that white supremacist group. He did great on the show. And I don't know. I just feel like Sons of Anarchy does not get the recognition that it deserves. So it'll definitely always have a place on my list. But yeah, that was my top 5 favorite shows list. And I have some honorable mentions, like, you know, you got your Sopranos. I love me some Sopranos with James Gandolfini. You can't go wrong. And then you got the King of Queens. I love the King of Queens. Great show. And Burn Notice. And then, man, I don't know. Can't really. Oh, duh. And you got your Law and Order SVU and Dexter and ER is another great one. But yeah, no, I love talking television and movies, which I'm going to try and do a lot more of, and wrestling. And, but yeah, that was my spiel for the day. I hope you guys enjoy. I love putting out content, and definitely going to try and do more. And I want to make this more interactive and enjoyable for you. So please leave me comments, questions, anything. Email me. Just let me know, and we'll definitely try and get more stuff going. And me and Dwayne's going to try and start doing more episodes together. And I don't know. So I thank you all for listening and tuning in. That was my final stance for the day. All right, so I will talk to y'all later. Peace.